All right, so I just had the life sucked out of me by watching the Super Bowl, and I literally mean that. It was unbelievably draining. I've said I haven't watched one in about 7 years, and I forgot about all the hype, the pro war stuff they have, and then just the Illuminati stuff, and then just the tons of consumerism that you're bombarded with, just all of it. Superficial and just these artificial type of trying to be edgy, trying to come up with something new, trying to find something that stimulates your senses and it's going to be tweeted and go viral and these types of things with the commercials and everything. But there was a point in the Super Bowl when I realized that I felt it was completely staged. The Patriots were dead in the water. They had basically no chance of winning, really no chance of winning, unless Atlanta just completely collapsed, in which they did. So I'd said before, I made a Super Bowl video, one of them, and I thought that they were going to do something similar to Tom Brady's comeback in his first Super Bowl. It was bookends to his career. And there's a couple things I'll talk about that because this was about Tom Brady and the Patriots. This happened right after 9/11, the original Super Bowl. I talked about that. Tom Brady's first Super Bowl and the Patriots and what that meant in the pro-war agenda, the Patriot Act, and all these things that followed 9/11. And so the way they were building it up, I watched some of the pregame show, and the way they were talking about it, it was just like everybody knew Tom Brady was going to end up winning. It was like they were going to anoint him. They were calling him the greatest quarterback ever. This was his legacy. He's going to go down as the greatest quarterback to ever play. And that came up over and over again. And Bill Belichick, the greatest coach, and all these things. And yet the Atlanta Falcons just seemed to be outplaying them. And they had basically an insurmountable lead. All they had to do was run out the clock, make a few plays, and the game was over. But then this happened. The names of the people involved, there was a player named Freeman who missed a key block, and there was a guy named Hightower, like Hightower in terms of 9/11. So you can see from this image, this guy Freeman needs to block this guy 54, Hightower. Freeman's the running back in front of the quarterback, Matt Ryan. And you can see from this other image, the Patriots have loaded the left side of the line. And so Freeman has no business looking over towards the right side of the line because he's going to have to block one of these guys coming through. Patriots are going to blitz one or two of these guys, and he's got to block one of them. But Freeman inexplicably is looking over towards the right side of the line. And he can't cross over and block anybody over there. On the right side of the line, there's two guys rushing in. And there's 4 guys to block those 2 guys. And on his side, there is 2 guys to block 4. So one of those guys is going to go back into coverage, and he has to block one of these guys. And 54 is his main assignment, this guy Hightower. And again, they snap the ball, and Freeman is looking into the other side, and there's just no reason for it. There's just too many guys on his side that he has to account for. So this is a big deal. You can't just let some guy run free and smack your quarterback going full speed, and that's what's going to happen here. This is the equivalent to him turning around and facing the opposite direction of the pitcher when he knows where the pitch is coming from. He knows where his assignment is. This is a professional football player. He has no business looking in the other direction. And then the guy comes in basically unmolested. He comes free, and he just whiffs completely on the block. He doesn't even get a piece of him. Even turning his head back, he could have got made some sort of contact just to slow the guy down. But he almost pushes him into the quarterback. It's that bad of a block. And again, the guy's name is Freeman, missing on Hightower, and the guy's left to go running in full speed, hits Matt Ryan, ball comes flying out. And at that moment, I'm going, they're going to stage a big Patriot comeback. They're still down a couple of touchdowns, but the Atlanta Falcons just completely folded. Everything changed. Their defense slowed down. They were missing assignments, all the kind of things that you'd see if there was a rigged system. There is the play on the field, which was to me a lot of evidence that they were just basically, it was rigged. It was some sort of acting. You just see the way that they played the game, the play calls that they made, the Atlanta Falcons, and the execution of their plays all looked very suspect. And then there's the narrative of Tom Brady coming in after 9/11 and the Patriots coming out of nowhere and being this iconic sort of team that's cheaters. Tom Brady seems to be some sort of almost, he looks like a sociopath. He's got these really cold eyes. He kind of looks like a killer, but he also looks like he's emotionally, he's like a 12-year-old boy. But then there's this other piece. And then at the end of the Super Bowl, they presented the trophy. And I knew this was going to be interesting because in the beginning of the year, Tom Brady was suspended for 4 games for cheating. And it was controversial because all these things always are. And this is something I've talked about over and over with the Freemasonic culture, how they humiliate people. And when they rolled out George W.H. Bush and his wife Barbara, who have been, George W.H. Bush was humiliated when he lost to Bill Clinton. And there's lots of things about his presidency and just who he is as a human being. And they rolled him out. And he was in a wheelchair, and they're really old people. He flipped the coin. And it's this celebration. Obama's getting this now, where somebody takes it for the team. They act as a shield for the controllers. They move large amounts of resources from the poor to the rich, and they get blamed, and then they're celebrated. They take one for the team, and then they're celebrated. And here was this thing that happened with Tom Brady being humiliated at the beginning of the season, suspended for 4 games, and then the commissioner, Roger Goodell, had to present the trophy to the president of the Patriots, Robert Kraft. And it was really uncomfortable because that's the way they scripted it. And then Robert Kraft got the microphone, and he just basically unloaded about how unfair that was. But this is the way they always do these in the initiation rituals in the Freemasonic culture. It starts off with humiliation, and then they're humiliated by the order. And I've talked about that with hazing and all these things and fraternities and all that. And then they are celebrated. So once they make it into the club, they're rewarded with wealth and all these types of things. And this is how this played out perfectly for Tom Brady after the Deflategate incident. Then in the end, Tom Brady was anointed, just like everyone was saying he was going to be, and everybody goes home happy. And it's just really icky. So it's just something where they can't let things just play out and run their natural course, like over real competition, or just everything is controlled, everything is contrived, everything is staged. I mean, that's at least how it felt to me. Other people can give their opinions about it, leave comments. But as far as I can tell, the whole thing just looked completely staged, and it followed very typical narratives that we've seen in the past with these staged events and this Illuminati and satanic narratives and rituals that they perform. And the Super Bowl, in many ways, is this violent ritual. All right, so maybe I'll talk a little bit more about this tomorrow. It's late here. Everybody have a good night.